called the Emmett Trail of Terror, which is narrated by the mayor of Glendora, which is a small town in northern Mississippi. And so it's about a 4-hour tour of many of the places where Emmett was taken and tortured that are on record. And so that would be kind of day 3, and then day 4 would be coming back. And so all of the logistics, we've kind of looked at where we would go, what it would cost, and we put it all together, and that's sort of always going to be our unknown piece, knowing we have to raise the money. How do we come up with $15,000? And the plan is, number one, a series of grants. So I wrote one already just to see, I wonder how easy this is gonna be. I got a reply back in like an hour. So we have a $500 promised money that they'll reimburse, so that was good. And we're planning to do a letter writing campaign where students would write to family and friends asking for donations or pledges to help them finance this trip. It'll end up being about $500 a kid, and we do hope to be able to raise all of that money. I've heard from several parents who are quite happy to pitch in what is needed. So I'm cautiously optimistic that we can raise the money, and if we can't, I mean, if we're 2 months out and we're not anywhere near the money, then we're gonna have to cancel it, but I feel that it's a real possibility. So that's kind of what our plan is.
It sounds very interesting, to say the least, and I'm not surprised to hear the enthusiasm.
Yeah.
Dr. Riesick, is this something that we would put on? What are the dates that you're anticipating?
You know, we're thinking late April, perhaps. It's going to kind of depend on bus availability. The bus companies are getting pretty full. When we can get cheaper hotel rooms, but I was kind of tentatively thinking end of April would be the goal. Plus, that's a beautiful time of the year in the South.
Okay. Yes, it is. So this would go on the work session for the meeting?
Well, either that or the work session. It just heard about it now, so you need some time to digest it. It's similar. I'm imagining it's going to be similar to the DC.
Yep, except for that's a non-school run trip, and this would be, which is why I'm here.
I think it sounds awesome.
Thank you.
And I thank you for the work that some of the places you're planning to go. And
Yeah,
we can bring back more of the details at the next meeting.
I don't know how many more, if you saw what I sent you, I mean, it's a pretty detailed itinerary and agenda of places that we would be going, seeing where we'd be eating, where we'd be staying. The only kind of unknown right now is the specific bus company, but we have 2 quotes that are pretty comparable. We're just waiting on a third to make sure we're not kind of in the wrong ballpark money-wise.
Good. So then we'll see how the campaign goes for generating funds,
Yeah.
and then
so
we'll
if
keep
that
it
is
moving
okay
forward.
with you guys, we will forge ahead with starting to raise the money.
I would go ahead on a cautious basis, and then the next meeting we can.
Have a formal motion at the next
Right.
regular,
Correct.
at the regular session.
Sure.
Correct.
But I would be in favor of, for it at the regular session. It sounds like a wonderful opportunity.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited.
And fits with our strategic plan.
Oh, and the other thing would be knowing that we would have then, those students would be missing 2 days of school. I'm kind of thinking it would be a Thursday through Sunday, or perhaps a Saturday through Tuesday, depending on what we can get available. But knowing that that means we will have 2 days of subs for 3 teachers. But to me, that seemed reasonable.
So we have a few things to talk about. So
yeah,
very good. Thank you for
Yes.
presenting it to us.
Thank you.
And now we'll go back to the roll call because I skipped over that to letter.
All right.
Sorry.
Bruce Belargin.
I am here.
Katie Thermos.
Here.
Marie Colbeth.
Here.
Bob Gunther. Courtney Krakowski. Catherine Cranston.
Here.
Lori Belargin.
Here. All right, then onward to the Start College Now applications. I don't see Katie, so Shannon, are you going to be? Thank you.
Should be pretty quick. So we had 3 students that when they chose classes for this coming semester from WITC, they accidentally registered for classes that were scheduled for last fall. It was just an oversight by the students as they were looking through the course offering book. They ended up just looking at the wrong spot. So once we processed their information and their paperwork and we realized kind of what had happened, we had the kids go back through, choose classes actually for this semester, which is what you saw or see somewhere in front of you. I think you have copies of what they are at least attempting to get into. So really just kind of a clerical error on their part. Once we realized it, fixed it, trying to get it in front of you, and I would say there's definitely some urgency to this. We'd like to be able to get this information back to WITC as soon as tomorrow, if possible, just with the timelines and things happening, and kind of an unfortunate mistake, but we're hoping some of those classes are still available. They might all be closed at this point. You know, we don't know, but we'd like to at least give it a shot for our kids, so.
We already approved them once, right?
No.
Or were they different
Well,
classes?
you proved the classes that they thought they were registering for, but weren't, so.
So I'm gonna be bold and say I'm gonna make the motion to approve these because the likelihood of them getting accepted if we do not is even slimmer. So
Right.
I would make that motion. Is there anyone interested in making a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Bruce. Any other questions on it? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. So
Thank you.
proceed, please. Thank you. On to item 5, building and grounds. George, thank you for your patience. Thank you for trying to help Tasia. And here, let's hear it.
Is it working, Tasia?
From what I can see, I think we're rocking.
Oh, wow, wonderful. Wonderful. Somebody's got the magic touch.
Well, I was gonna put this up on the board, I couldn't get it up, I couldn't get to my Google tonight, so you're just gonna have to listen to me. If there's anything here that you have a question on, kind of make note of it, and I'll try to explain it in further detail. But 17-18 accomplishments, kind of funny, because we've been doing a lot of stuff that's already in the 18-19 realm, and, you know, I'm really thinking about that at this point, but over the course of last year, we replaced a couple of cameras external to the playground over at the elementary school. We replaced carpeting with floor tile in a room over in the elementary school, D101. We had a teacher that had a allergy problem, and that we wanted to retain her, and so we replaced the carpet, put the tile in, and she hasn't had any problems since. We installed 2 new bottle filler drinking fountains at the middle school. Removed and replaced 6 outdoor benches at the middle school. Purchased a used single genie lift at the middle school because the lift we had was bad. We replaced carpeting in room 149 at the middle school, so 1 classroom last summer. Purchased classroom furniture for the 7th and 8th grade wing at the middle school. We repurposed the mini storage shed at the back of the high school. It formerly was a storage building for recycled cans, and I think it had something to do with the athletic department. I don't even know, but it wasn't being maintained, and we kind of cleaned that mess up, and that's what we're using it for now. We put surplus furniture and other surplus items out in that shed right now. We installed carpeting in the guidance office. Replaced carpeting with carpeted floor tile in room 140. We did room 164 over there also. Completed inspection and cleaning of electrical panels and switch gear at the high school. That's not done real often, but it needed to get done, so we're happy to get that done. Installed additional LED lighting at the high school in the IT equipment room because it was difficult to even see what they were doing in there. As you're well aware of, we installed the 2 new scoreboards in the high school gym. Installed LED lighting under the high school gym bleachers so we could see what we were doing under there for cleanup and maintenance, PM maintenance of the bleachers. Replaced a worn out stand-up refrigerator in the high school kitchen. Purchased a new used pickup truck for the B&G department. Made improvements to the interior lighting of the district garage because it was awful dark in there. Cleaned out a previous storage space in the district garage for potential vehicle use storage. Initiated the practice of rental floor matting throughout the district. Had multiple surplus material auctions using the Wisconsin auction site. That's something new that we started. Completed a survey of the district assets and property to identify as referendum items. I was working with a couple of guests we have here tonight. Retrofitted 11 light poles with LED lamps on district property. Trimmed trees along the district roadways and parking lots. Replaced defective exterior wall lighting under warranty at the middle school and the high school. Worked on determining district needs for state security grant funding, and did miscellaneous asphalt patching in the parking lots and roadways. So that, to me, that was a big accomplishment. It was a busy year for us. And coming up, we have things that we've kind of deferred. I'm just gonna explain that a little bit. A lot of things come up during the year. We work off a budget. The budget's basically need items that we do every day, things that we get off a school dude, requests from staff. If they're items that aren't too difficult or too expensive to do, we try to take care of those things. If we can't, it might be something that we defer if we don't think we have the money. The deferred maintenance items, some of the things that we have sitting out there right now are interior wall painting, carpeting replacement, and that's almost a constant thing. Classroom furniture, and ceiling fans right now in the gym and the multi-purpose rooms. Some of them aren't working now. We've deferred that kind of thing. Relatively simple. Some of the things we want to address in the near term, if we still have money left available in this fiscal year, we're looking at table saw replacements at the middle school and the high school. We have some high school gym floor receptacles that we're trying to replace. And we're going to try to implement a safety data sheet online system, which right now it's a paper system and it's cumbersome. Nobody's really assigned to take care of it, and it could cause us a problem. So things that we make our decisions on working on or replacing or fixing are the district risks and hazards that might be beneficial to the district to correct. We also look at the safety to the staff and the students, compliance of codes, and also any economic factors. That's basically what's driving any expenditures that we make over and above what our budget can handle. Some of the things we have to, I'm working with Dave on a lot of these things, that if we have money in the budget that we can take care of some of these things, we try to fit it in if we can. And it's a floating thing, it's a seasonal thing, because over the summer there might be something we want to fix, and we maybe don't have money at the time. We have to defer it into the next fiscal year. And if it's something we can do, we have to really think about what we're going to drop off the list. So there may be something we look at doing in the fall, and something else comes up during the summer. We may have to defer that because it's too much money. We need to take care of a priority item. Or if it's a safety or a hazard, it's something we have to do. And that's kind of what drives what we do. All I can say is nothing stays the same. It's a maintenance, as you know, and we've said it before, these things don't last forever. If you don't maintain them, they're going to break down. And a lot of these things we let go, and some of these things need to be fixed, and hopefully with this referendum thing we can take care of some of these things and have more budget that takes care of some of these smaller things. So anybody have any questions? Go ahead, Bruce.
Thanks, George, for putting that together.
Yeah.
First of all. Second, do we know what's wrong with the sound system in the gym? Shannon or Trent? Like a basketball games, you can't.
Referendum 2019, there you go.
That's the existing one,
Yeah.
or the original one.
Is there any way to get that fixed so that they can announce at basketball games? I mean,
Was it working Friday night?
maybe like
It's
before
sporadic.
Christmas.
I mean,
Yeah,
there's
that's what I mean.
depending
I don't
on where
know.
you're sitting in the gym, you maybe can or cannot hear.
Yeah, I mean, like sometimes we go to the game and they gotta come out,
Yeah.
the person singing the national anthem can't even have a mic.
Yeah.
I know, especially earlier in the season, there were some significant issues, and we went out and got a new actual microphone and cord.
Okay.
And I thought it's been better since then, unless.
It says they're right before Christmas
Yeah.
break. That would
Yeah,
make
I think
sense.
that helped.
Yeah.
I think just the overall sound system is old and needs to be completely ripped out and replaced. So I think we're band-aiding it kind of the best we can as it goes along, but yeah, it's not great.
Yeah, cause I mean, the microphone wasn't even working for
Yeah.
the scores table. It was like, yeah,
Music, you turn it on, it's either way too loud,
Right.
it's screechy, I mean, it's,
yeah, like even the video right away wasn't, couldn't even
Mhm.
hear it.
Really, first time I've heard that.
Really?
Yeah.
It is? Oh my goodness, that's been.
Well, I don't go to the games, so
Right.
I don't hear that, but it's something we can look into,
Yeah, could you
for sure.
see and then we see what has to be done to fix it or how much it is?
Yeah.
I mean, cause that's kind of,
It's been that way for years too. I'm sorry we never got that communicated across. Graduations have been horrible because you can't hear the speaker without the sound.
I think it's been worse this year than,
In previous years?
yeah, definitely. Yeah, you at least hear the people at the table announcing before, now it's
Now you can't.
nothing. Maybe it's better now.
I think every game we're kind of on edge about what is or isn't going to work. I don't want to
Right.
speak for you, but we kind of hope and pray. I know Trent checks the sound system before every home game. But
I'll put it on the list.
Yeah, you
It's on the list.
got to the right person. Any other questions for George? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, so we will scoot right on to the, we've already heard from Kristen on 6th, on to 7, the substitute staff discussion. Dave and Mark?
Yeah, we'd, for the remainder of this year, we'd like to increase the daily sub rate to 120. I sent you a couple documents, one from the MBC superintendents, and Dave did a piece on, the cost relating to the past data and usage. This year our use of subs is significantly lower. It's not because we're not doing things, this is because we can't find the subs, which is causes a problem for that. Just the average in the area, Baldwin's at 120, Hudson's at 125 a day. That one wasn't on the sheet. So we figure if we're in that 120 rate, we'll see who knows if it'll make a difference. I guess time will tell this year, or remainder of this year, if it'll make a difference. The other piece is we'd like to pull in a full-time, a regular sub, a district sub. So again, that would take probably away from our pool, but at least, it would be probably one of our best subs that we would have guaranteed in our district every day, rather than taking the chance of these people going to other districts and that. So we'd like to try that for the remainder of this year and see what kind of effect we have on the system.
So they would be full-time?
They would be on a long-term sub contract basically.
Okay, because I was wondering if they would get vacation and.
Well, there are some extenuating benefits to the long-term piece there.
I agree. There are, okay.
I don't remember getting any costing for that. I saw the costing for increasing the rate of pay, but I did not see any costing for adding that employee.
For the benefits or the?
For anything.
Dave, can you speak to any of what that would entail?
Long-term sub rate is based on the base teacher pay, so $217 a day. So that'd be the difference. Right now, long-term subs are generally coming in if there's a teacher out on leave. And we do have a number of them. You see them when I break down that information in the quarterly reports. And so next month we'll talk about what that has looked like through December. But there is a difference. If you're a full-time sub, that's essentially at the base teacher pay if you're here the whole year.
So do you have an estimate on what that would cost for the remainder of the year?
How many days are left?
Well, there was something, 90 times 217.
I like the idea of doing it for the rest of the year rather than waiting till next year and then doing it for the whole year. This will give us more of a guide, does it make a difference or not? Cause this is just a shot in the dark, because I can tell you right now, it has not made any difference in the district where I teach. We have some full-time district subs, but hasn't made any difference for.
And personally, I don't see it making a huge difference. There's just a couple districts around us that are trying this also
maybe
to
with a
see
small little
if
work.
it does. The big advantage I could see is that you're gonna keep possibly, you know, if you do this, some of our best people in the district on a full-time basis, but again, you know, we've got a lot of good subs.
I think it's worth a try.
It's
If
just-
it solves our problem, great.
It's just under 20,000, but that doesn't include any of the benefits that might go with that? What
Mhm.
benefits go with that?
We wouldn't have.
So the main benefit would be FICA, or the main cost.
But they
We
don't
would
get
offer
health or
the
anything.
school year support staff insurance plan, which is the plan that the district pays a lesser proportion of.
Okay.
I think actually there is a sub-pay estimate on here, and it says 26,928.
That makes about the right sense.
So,
Where's
I
that?
wanna,
Well,
I
this
think we
is-
should try it.
How many,
But that's
do we
not
know,
fair.
do we
Pardon?
know how many subs we use a day on average? Is there such a thing?
Well, it was on there. We've used,
Last school year was 1,002 short-term, but that wasn't counting long-term. It's substantially less this year, but it's because we haven't had subs available.
Yeah.
It's only
That's
been
correct.
300 and some this year.
And we've had a number of long-term situations that
So that's roughly,
eat up our,
That's
our
roughly
daily
subs.
subs.
so that's approximately 5 subs today, so one is only gonna take care of one of those, that's, I guess, where I was going with that. But it's still one.
We can try
It's,
it.
you know, being half of the year, we wanna try it. And, you know, there are some things that we're doing too, where we used to send groups of people out. We're not sending groups anymore to professional development or some of these other activities, just because we don't have the subs.
Yeah.
So, I think we try it and we take a look at the data at the end of the year and see where we go next year.
So are you looking for a motion this evening to be able to put
Correct.
this into practice
Yep.
right away?
Mm-hmm.
So is there anyone interested in making that motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the teacher substitute rate increase to $120 per day.
I'll second that one.
Any other questions on that?
Like we said, Hudson pays 125 and they still don't get subs.
Yep.
I mean, I know Kathy already said, I mean, there's no one out there. I mean, hopefully we can pull more people with maybe a little higher rate, but there isn't. I mean, Richmond's 118 or 120 a day.
You watch, those will go up to 122.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, there's a motion on the table to approve the teacher substitute rate increase to $120 per day, made by Lori, seconded by Bruce. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So that motion carries. We're looking for a motion for the approval of hiring a district-wide full-time substitute teacher to try out for the remainder of this year.
I'll make that motion as long as it says the remainder of this year.
Right.
This is not a
Correct.
recurring thing.
Okay.
So, Tasia, if you'll put that additionally onto that 7B, and a second, anyone interested in
I will second that.
Thank you, Katie. Any questions on that? So Catherine has made the motion to hire a district-wide full-time substitute teacher for the remainder of this school year, 2018-19. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I am
Motion.
opposed.
Okay, Bruce is opposed. We've got 4 in favor and 1
I
opposed.
am opposed as well, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. So 2 opposed and 3 in favor or in support of. So the motion would pass with 3 in favor. And Katie had seconded, correct? I did hear that?
Yes.
Okay.
And I just wanna make a comment that, at the end of the year, we wanna report back on if it was valuable or not valuable and how much it actually did cost.
So, sorry, I should have brought up when we were kind of talking about, but is this something that, so, you know, teachers obviously have a couple days ahead, is this person booked then, you know, a bunch of days ahead of the schedule?
This person is first call.
Okay, so like when something opens, pretty much, I guess I don't know how, I'm sure you guys have it all planned out how this spot works or what position they have or what
This
takes
person
precedence.
will be first call, so this person is always used.
But it'll work out so that, yeah, she'll take the first call, but then somebody else's class will get her because that class is more difficult and somebody else,
That's,
principals will do what they need to do to make it work.
Yeah, I'm not, sorry. That's
Yeah,
yours.
let the principals worry about it.
Yeah, right.
So we'll get a report at the end of this semester as to how it's going and.
Not the end of this semester, at the end of the year.
Well,
You can't really tell at the end of the semester.
yeah.
I'm sorry, end of the, we're on a trimester.
Well, that's another issue, but at the end of the school year.
Yeah, that's what I meant, at the end of the school year, so. And that's what you intended, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So
I
we've
wanna know
got,
the
we will,
results, pro or con, and I wanna know the overall cost to determine whether it's of value to do again.
all right, so the costs we can generate from Dave, the results I would say would come from the
Principals.
principals, hopefully. Very good. Onward then, if there is no more questions, if there are no more questions on that. On to item 8 then, the employee handbook update, please. Mark and Katie.
Okay, so this will be fairly quick. So we met on December 19th, and Mark reviewed the survey results and encouraged employees to get involved, because they're gonna be our eyes and ears out there. And then we moved into the framework of the employee handbook and what kind of format we'd like to use, they'd like to use. And Jody and Tasia had done quite a bit of work in looking at other districts and what they do. And basically it's the same WASB model as we had. But, so, and then I think it was Deb Cardell who'd gone back and asked some teachers too, you know, what do you wanna see? Do you wanna see it have like a label of PTO, or, sorry, we don't have PTO here, vacation days, and then list all the different groups and what their benefits are? Or do you wanna have everybody have their own? And at the end of the day, they all want their own kind of section. So what they're proposing it look like is you start with the first section will be for all employees, and that will be only policies that actually pertain to all employees, like FMLA, other pretty much statute or, you know, HR driven, that is only for every single employee in the district. And then you'll have one for the supervisory support staff, the support staff, the certified, and the administrators, I think.
Subs, extracurricular,
Yes.
all the categories that we've had in the past.
But they're going to be linking all of these things to, so that you can click on a link and get there. So you do not have to, that's Tasia.
Page through the handbook, you can.
Correct.
Okay, online link, okay.
Yep, and it's going to be much more user-friendly.
That sounds wonderful.
Yes.
So just a couple comments on it, and that was our goal from the beginning, is to make it more user-friendly, because
Yep.
there was conflicting pieces in those sections versus the main general employee section. So that's all been straightened out. Dave's working on finishing the appendixes, and the hope is to bring it to the board for approval, and then we'll have a working, up-to-date copy of the employee handbook. But the next step now is to meet with the different groups and talk with them about, okay, what, we didn't make any structural, I shouldn't say structural, benefit or compensation type pieces, changes in the handbook. That would be the next step to say, you know, because some groups are talking about, hey, you know, can we do this or this or this? That would be the next step. So it's basically going to the groups and saying, okay, what do you like, what don't you like? Then it would come to the board and say, yeah, we'll make these changes in the support staff group or the supervisory support staff group.
But we're gonna do that through the employee council,
Right,
right? And then
right.
the people will go back and get.
That's just the
feedback.
second stage of this thing.
Yeah.
We had to get the original cleaned up and updated with current laws and policies and what have you. But all the other internal pieces that are your decision to make, you know, haven't been changed. Those will come to you.
So did anyone have any questions for Katie or Dr. Bezick on that? Thanks, Katie.
Yep.
For your summary there. Tasia, I can't say thank you enough for the work you guys are doing on that. Those links are gonna be fabulous. I'm
Yep.
just really, there'll maybe some glitches at first, but it'll be a great way to go.
Her and Jody have put a lot of work.
Yeah. I know
Jason
it takes
wasn't
a lot
sure
of
if they would
work.
work. Yeah.
But hopefully you just have to redo sections rather than the whole thing again.
Yeah.
Hopefully. All right, if there's no more questions on that, then we're gonna scoot right on to item 9, the referendum discussion. looking for resolutions. So how would you like to proceed?
Well, just an overview, you've got three resolutions here, you know, one for the bond, one for the operating, the recurring operating levy, and then the resolution for the election. So those are the three that we need to take care of.
I will, I mean, do we need to have a discussion, or do we gotta make a motion? I'll make a motion to approve 1 through 3.
Okay,
I'll second.
thank you, Lori, thank you, Bruce, and any questions on this?
So, in Mark's communications to the board, he recommended recurring, but he also included non-recurring. I just wanna make sure that you're clear, if you're doing this, that it's for recurring, as Bruce stated, so, that's all. I'm gonna clarify.
And the recommendation is based on, from our financial advisors and from school perceptions, looking at our data and looking at where we're at, and, you know, what it needs to be used for, recurring is what we need.
Good.
All right, so I think, I'm not hearing any questions, so I would say let's go for a vote on this. All those in favor of the motion that Bruce made, seconded by Lori, to approve the recommendations 1, 2, and 3 under item 9A. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Wonderful.
No, I had one question.
Sure. Sure.
So I'm confused because this language doesn't match stuff in here. Do we need to provide the exact language
Yes.
Language on what now?
on the resolution that we're approving right now?
Doesn't,
It doesn't match the email.
No.
what,
So
Okay.
that to me would say this is the language we are approving.
Right.
Well,
What's
that
in
it
the
doesn't have-
agenda.
we're approving the resolutions on the agenda, the ballot questions will be cleaned up.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
that's what I needed.
I need that capital N to stay
Yeah,
good, keep that
and
there.
under initial 3. Does that clear up your questions?
Yes.
Yeah, those are just,
Yep.
those were sample ballot questions, and
Wanted
that's.
to make
the-
sure we didn't have to approve the
Yeah,
exact
no,
language.
no, you don't. And those are crafted more by, what she do, school bond attorney and what have you, and so it really is what we're gonna, it has to be broad enough to cover what we're gonna use the money for.
Okay,
And we
yep.
can't handcuff ourselves too tightly, so, and a lot of discussion on the verbiage there, so. Just a comment there, you know, the ball's gonna start rolling fast now. Well, tomorrow, we're meeting with all employees to just kind of give a overview. We're gonna get into the buildings more and talk about the details of this and kind of the strategy we're gonna use. We're already, Katie and I are gonna sit down, I don't know if you're not gonna make it tomorrow,
Correct.
but we're gonna start strategizing the analytics of this election, because there's a strategy to this whole thing that we're gonna have to get on top of it. The one thing, we need a slogan for this. So, you know.
High school class should come up with it.
We've got people, we've put that word out that, you
They're
know.
way more creative than the rest of us.
Oh, you didn't like my sample?
Oh, I think it's just fine, but it should come from.
I've
it
used
should
that one
come
already,
from
so.
kids.
Anyway, just to let you know that, you know, things
They
are
got
gonna be
marketing
moving
classes.
fast, and, you know, you're all gonna be involved with it. So.
Yeah.
So if I'm understanding correctly, we are using this verbiage, or there is legal verbiage you're gonna bring forward that we need to see?
This is the resolution, these have to be passed to
Yeah,
move
the
forward
word-
now.
wording.
This is what we have to turn into the state to say, yep, you're serious, you're gonna do this. And now, we'll get back and redo the ballot language, or not redo it, but clean that up.
Okay,
But again, those are just samples.
all right, so then what goes on the ballot, is that what has to happen before January? Cool, yes.
You can see that actual ballot language on if you click the link.
Mhm.
So
Rather than the email.
Well, I did, and that's what yeah.
Well, as we said, but
That's-
That was
That's the
your
ballot
question.
language that's set with this.
that's tied to this.
Yes, and these are the resolutions you have to pass to do it.
Okay,
We
so
did.
then Katie's questions are legitimate questions that we want clarification on, correct?
So you looked at the sample ballot language, that's the language that's tied to these.
That's the one we passed.
Yep, and these are the titles of the resolutions to do that.
Yeah, and I think it's okay. Did you look at it? It's
Well,
the
the one
same.
question we answered, and that was the question about the recurring or non-recurring, the capital expenditures.
You say you answered it, I'm still not listening.
Yeah, his email was different than what we're actually, it's more similar to this,
Oh, okay.
to what we did. So, we're good, I think. I don't wanna assume anything. All right. So we're good. I think we have our questions ready to go, and, moving on with this, correct?
We're good.
Please. So I hope we didn't cut anybody short that wanted to add anything to it. All right, so we're gonna roll off of, item 9 and into 10, topics for action.
I'll make the motion to approve A, B, and C.
Second.
Thank you, Bruce. Thank you, Catherine. Any questions on those? All those in favor of the motion made by Bruce, seconded by Catherine, to approve items 10A, B, and C, recommend school board approve the donations as presented, the coach advisory hires as presented, and the early high school graduations as presented. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. That was quick once we got rolling. Thank you
Thanks,
for
guys.
coming this evening
Thanks
and for your
patience.
help with this. Thank you, George. All right, so we'll move on to item 11, the ones around the table. I always start with Bruce, so I'm gonna give Bruce a break tonight, and I'll come back to you, Bruce. Okay? Katie?
I'm good.
Catherine?
I still wanna bring up the policy for, board members attending online.
Oh,
Cause I wanna have that in place by the time I retire. Which would be a year and a half
I was
from
gonna say,
now.
what year is that?
But you never know.
Wonder how fast we could get that in place.
We would just have to put it on an agenda.
Did you have anything else?
No.
Lori, how about you?
I have brought up in the past data regarding the effectiveness of the mindfulness coordinator and the behavior specialists. We're approaching a date that we need to give notices to employees by, and I don't want that to get by us without taking appropriate action. And
Data,
well, I wanna know what the effectiveness of.
measured
the-
by what?
By,
Referrals?
I'm sorry?
Referrals, or, I mean,
I
what
want
kind of
some
data do you
hard
want?
data. I don't want just anecdotal data. I want some hard data as far as, numbers of behavior interventions, numbers of behavior sheets that are written up by teachers. I'd like opinions from the staff on how they feel it's going, if they see an improvement.
Okay,
How
that
about the
clarifies.
number of teachers that actually instituted or implemented?
I'm sorry?
The number of teachers that possibly use it?
And whether there's an improvement in behavior and in the, well, it's all has to do with behavior of the kids. So, yeah, the behavior that they see in their classrooms and in the building in general.
We'll see what we can come up with for a recommendation as far as what data specifically.
As I mentioned before, a couple of points. The principals are working on a rubric on how we're gonna evaluate this.
Good.
Okay, we've had it now for not even half a year yet, so I would caution us to make any rash decisions over the next month or two until we get some kind of path as far as seeing, how we're doing. So we, any system you put in, you can evaluate it periodically as you go, but, it takes quite a while. It's like a schedule. You don't go into a schedule and then dump it because some people don't like it halfway through the year. You have to give it some time to work. My decision on some of these positions would be cost, if we can afford to do this and continue it. And that's why this referendum's important. To me, just the one position you mentioned, there's several positions we put in, are extremely important to rebuilding what we need to do in this district. But if we can't afford to do it, we can't afford to do it. And that's what's weighing heavy on my mind. I have no question of the effectiveness from what I've seen and from what I've heard of these positions. But again, if the dollars aren't there, we gotta make some tough choices. This data will help us make decisions. But again, I'm just really cautious on making knee-jerk reactions of saying, we've had it for 6 months, we don't, we gotta give it some time.
I think that's kind of quick myself. I do, I think.
I like the idea of a rubric and
Yeah,
have
I
the
do too.
rubric, that would be more measurable to start with. What are we looking for? So I love the idea of a rubric.
That's what we've talked about for the last 2 months as far as how are we going to evaluate this before we have to making decisions. So it's in the works.
Great, great. And I heard myself say we, I did not mean we.
Thank you.
No.
What is that survey we do every year? Is it every year where you ask the
The
kids?
staff survey
No,
is,
I'm
the
talking
Gallup
about
poll.
Well, there's,
where they,
Yes,
where you ask
I know what
kids
you're
about
talking
their
about.
behaviors, what they're doing, you know, outside of school.
The YRBS?
Yes,
Yes.
thank you. I mean, I would think, you would hope there would show some difference there anyway.
some of those pieces are always evaluating last year's data and.
I know.
So I mean,
I know.
we gotta kinda look at a rubric
All I
that's
was
really gonna
trying
give
to
an
think
honest
is that-
evaluation of what we're doing with this and what the intention is to what the outcome is, so.
Yeah.
All right, Bruce?
I think
Excuse
Lori
me.
has some more.
Oh, I'm
Lori has
sorry.
more.
Something else, in our last packet from our regular session, there was a note regarding eliminating the Illuminate program. And I'd like some more information regarding that. Does that include Fast Bridge? I'd like more information on that. It's a program that we started, we're only in our second year with it, and it looks like we're abandoning it already. And I would like some information on that.
Okay.
All right. And you, Bruce?
Sound system manager.
All right, then, if I could please have a motion to move into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin Statute 1985-1C to consider the performance evaluation of the district administrator and discussion of administrative contracts.
Excuse me, Marie.
Yes.
Hey, we're gonna flip-flop the two closed
Sure, yes.
sessions and.
So instead,
So
we're
we get
actually.
Trevor out of here.
Yes, Trevor, I'm sorry. I saw that, I meant that. So we're
You
gonna go back
can sit
to,
here.
we'll move into where your second agenda is.
I'll move.
That we, you wanna read it?
Yep, I'll move into closed session
Thank you all.
pursuant to Stats 1985-1G to confer with legal counsel to render oral or written advice concerning strategy to be adopted by the board with respect to litigation in which it is likely to become involved. The purpose of the closed session will be to discuss the status of the matter and the board's strategy.
All
I'll
right.
second.
Thank you, Lori. Thank you, Katie, too. All those in favor, do we need to do a roll call on this to move it? You just say yes.
Yes.
Okay, Katie?
Here.
Marie, yes? Catherine?
Yes.
Yes.
And Lori?
Yes.
So we will move into the closed session now. Oh yeah, she's got roll call right underneath it if I had just